Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club meeting for the month of April. Had to think about that for a second. This month, we read Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. As you can see, Desiree is holding it down below. Um, and if you've never been to one of these live shows before, just a really quick housekeeping. We do the first 5 to 10 minutes of spoiler free initial thoughts. We talk about our ratings and just our um, general thoughts on what we thought of the book. And then after that, we're going to go into spoiler territory. So if you don't care about spoilers, or if you do care about spoilers, that'll be your moment to step out. Um, as usual, I'm joined by these two lovely ladies here who are going to introduce themselves in just a moment. Um, but let's go ahead and get into discussing Half a Soul. Kat, do you want to go ahead and start with your initial thoughts?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kathleen. My name is my channel is for the Love Books, and I enjoyed parts of this book, but ultimately I thought it was boring and forgettable. Um, I found some of the concept interesting. The whole it almost felt like a Jane Austen book with elements of with fantasy elements. So I did kind of like that part. But again, I kind of got really bored with the book, and I wasn't really connecting with the characters. Some of them gave a little. They gave off like snobbish vibes, and it was really. I was starting to get irritated with some of them. But overall, I did not think this was a terrible book. Like I said, I did enjoy parts of it, but I did end up giving this a 2.5 stars. It's hovering between 2.5 and 3. But because I just didn't find myself enjoying this book all that much, 3 is usually books that I did kind of like, and I would probably read the next book. With this, I probably wouldn't read anything by this author. But I'm glad I gave it a chance. So 2.5.
Hi, my name is Desiree. You can find me at LibriLabra on all the things like Instagram and YouTube and TikTok for as long as it's around, and Twitter and Threads and whatever else. I enjoyed it, but I do agree with you. Like, I feel like Elias was given hard Mr. Darcy vibes. So, I do think it was interesting. I would probably give it 3 stars, and I'm trying to figure out if I would keep reading not this author, because I think I would keep reading this author, but I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep reading the books in this kind of like fantasy world of hers. So that's where I'm at.
Hi, my name is Chloe. You're on my channel. I gave this one 2.5 stars. This is one of those things where it's like I think it was great in concept and poor in execution. Because similar to Kat, I also found myself very bored. I found that I was interested at the beginning and at the end, and everything else in the middle. Just I was kind of just coasting. Um, because of the ending, and I did enjoy kind of where the epilogue left us, I was hovering between a 2 and a 2.5, and I settled on a 2.5. Just because I agree with what Kat is saying. A 3-star book for me is a book that was middle of the road okay for me, and I didn't feel like this was that. So I gave it 2.5 stars. I I was really interested in the idea of like a Regency romance because Bridgerton is all the hype now. Um, but I really liked that idea of fairy tales mixed in with it since it's called Regency fairy tales. But ultimately, it didn't work for me, and I will probably not be continuing on in the series. Um, so all in all, 2.5 stars. And I don't know if this is going to springboard us into spoilers, but I'll just go ahead and pose this. I wish there was more world building with this book. Normally, I'm not like a heavy world book person, but this one I felt like I wish there was more world building.
It felt very much like it reminded me a little bit, and I DNF'd this book, so like I probably shouldn't even compare it to that. But like, crap, I don't even remember the name of it. but it was like a fantasy. It was like a gay fantasy that took place in England somewhere or something like that, and it was just giving me like those vibes. Like it just felt like they very much lived in the normal world, but there was magic, kind of, and that's what this felt like. And then the only thing that was more or may have required more world building was like the fairy world, I feel like.
I think, you know, where I wanted the world building was like I understood that it was a normal world, but then they were talking about like divination and stuff like that, and how he's a magician, and I'm like, how much is actually known in this world? Because it wasn't really a secret.
All right, are we just like spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting, and this is just like a random place to start, but I thought it was interesting about the iron, how iron impacts magic, but also that that's like not a well-known thing. Like, how is that not a well-known thing? How is that like how is that being kept a secret? Like that just seemed kind of wild to me, that something like this everyday item, right? Because a lot of people have to be using scissors, or scissors not normally made of iron, they're made of some other kind of metal or something, I don't know. But I would think there's a crap ton of people sewing and using scissors, and no one's figured out that like can ruin magic, or I don't know. That was kind of crazy to me, to keep that a secret, I feel like.
How do I word this? Hold on, come back to me.
Is this being billed like as a romance?
I don't know if the publisher is. I will say that my library copy, they have like little like genre stickers on the side, and mine had romance on the side of it.
Okay, because I know there was like kind of a romance in it, but I was not like, this didn't feel like it was about the romance at all. That was just kind of like a side thing happening.
Yeah.
According to Goodreads, it is a fantasy romance historical fiction. So,
in my my bullet journal, I put it up as historical romance with fantasy elements. So
it has a lot of high ratings because the average rating is a 4.1.
No, yeah,
that's why I had high hopes for this book. I was so excited to read this book. I was like, this is short,
and I bought it because Books and Lala had given it like 5 stars.
Yeah, I see that
too. I thought that you guys would love this, just because of the whole romance aspect. But I was excited to read this because it was a short book, and it was highly rated. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into this and like it. And it said it had fantasy elements, and I was reading the description. It said like fairies and someone who have a soul. I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. And then I felt like I was reading a Jane Austen book with fairies in it. So.
You know what? I think at the end of the day, why I actually like bought it, because I was in Barnes and Noble looking at it. I was like, oh, Books and Lala recommended this, but I had it in my hand. I was like at the cafe, and like 2 people, as they were walking by, they were like, oh my God, that book is so good. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I have to buy it now. If like 2 random people are stopping me to tell me how good it is. And I don't think it was bad.
Yeah, I don't think it was terrible. I felt like I was going into this book expecting it to be so good. I think that this is why I should not go on Goodreads before I start books, because I see the rating and I read the description, and I'll glance at some of the reviews and I get my hopes up, and or I get my hopes down. That usually also works, but I definitely had high expectations going into this book.
I mean, I didn't necessarily think it was bad either, but I also didn't think it was good. And I mean, I get that Regency romances right now are a big hype, but like, these could have been so amazing. Like,
also, Goodreads had like Bridgerton meets House Moving Castle, and I love Bridgerton and I love House Moving Castle, so I was like even more excited for it. And no, that's not what it gave me.
Yeah, I mean, it did come out in, I think it originally came out in 2020 and then was republished in 2022. But like, it came out in the hype of Bridgerton, and it didn't work for me.
I feel like Elias was kind of douchey from the beginning. And maybe that's why I wasn't caring about, because obviously I'm not going to want her to be with the douchey guy. So, like, so I wasn't even hoping or wanting or expecting that to happen. I was more interested in how he was going to help her become one again, and like about the magic and like finding out that he was a fairy and like stuff like that. So like, or half fairy or whatever. So I don't know how you felt about the romance itself.
I thought it was okay. You could definitely see that. I'm not going to call it a love triangle per se. We'll call it a soft love triangle because they were trying to put Albert as a potential love interest, but we all knew that wasn't going to work. But I liked how Albert's story ended. But I don't know. At first, I didn't think that he was going to be the love interest because I was like, wow, he's a real ass. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it had really high hopes. I do like how it ended though, with him realizing that he was in love with her, and he like listed all these reasons or all these things that have changed about him because of her, and I liked that. I'm reading what the other books in the series are about.
Like, I like, that he obviously fell in love with her just the way she was.
With half a soul.
Yeah, I mean, because he would ask her things like, how do you feel? What is this like? How do you experience this? And it seemed like she was kind of missing certain emotional notes, I guess.
So I was reading like if you go on Goodreads for this book, there's a like a review from the author, and she lists different like fun facts about the book, and one of the things that I saw was her half a soul is very it's supposed to represent like neurodivergence.
See, that's what I was wondering. I was kind of curious about that.
And a lot of the traits that she has apparently are like the author was reflecting herself. I'm reading what the other books are about because just based off of how this one ended, I was like, are they following somebody different or what's going on?
So I'm a super emotional person. Like, I have just like really, really big highs and lows emotionally. And when I'm just feeling in the middle, I hate it because I feel like everything feels gray. Like that to me, while it might be normal for other people, it feels kind of like depression to me. Like I'm just so used to like swinging up and down. And so it felt like Dora just wasn't very emotional, and I think that's kind of maybe why I didn't really connect with her that well.
Which I understand why that was done because of her half a soul, but it made the book dull, in my opinion. Even though there were some interesting moments because she doesn't fully understand like the propriety of the ton or whatever you want to call it. But overall, it was just, I don't know. I wanted more emotion from it, even though I understand why it wasn't there.
But again, that being said, if that's why she was written that way, then, you know, I appreciate that Elias, you know, because she was still trying to get Theodora to join with her or whatever. But Elias was like, no, I fell in love with you exactly the way you are, with your half a soul. Like, you don't need to be more or different or whatever. So I like that message. I appreciate that message. I don't know. Did anybody read the novella?
I did not.
Okay,
Did you?
No.
I think by the time I reached the end of it, I was just like, I don't want any more, and I didn't want to read it.
I'm curious though, because it's from Elias's perspective, so I'm kind of.
It does look like there's a lot of novellas in the series,
Really?
because it's a trilogy according to Goodreads. Hold on, I gotta go back. There's definitely 3 books.
I thought there was more than that.
And then there's the prequel novella. Then there's one that comes after the first one. Oh, there's only 2. Sorry, I thought there were more than 2. There's just 2. And it does look like okay, it looks like the 1.5, the latchkey, is set after the events of this first book, but it also looks like it's also in Elias's perspective.
The other thing I'm wondering is if it's like historical fiction, if I'm just missing some cultural elements to it that I'm not.
But I don't even necessarily think it could be that, because I mean, there's so much historical fiction that we like. I mean, I don't know if you've read any of the Bridgerton books, but like,
I haven't, but I've watched the show.
But I feel like, I mean, doesn't the same thing apply?
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about this author. I think she might be Canadian. I think I read that somewhere. I don't know. But I have a friend in my IRL book club who lived over in the UK for a while, and she was just kind of talking about how they're different, how they're a little bit more emotionally reserved and a little bit more standoffish and blah 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 blah. So like, I would imagine that someone writing historical fiction about things in England and UK that was born and raised there would probably sound different than an American writing it, even though they're going to be doing like extensive research and whatever. It's just not going to be the same. So I don't know.
It looks like she is Canadian, by the way. It looks like there's also another book that she released a couple of months ago called The Witchwood Knot that is set in the same world as Half a Soul, but it's a new series called Victorian Fairy Tales.
You know, because don't they also like actually believe in fairies over there? Like the fairies are real and all that?
I have no idea. Maybe. I don't know. I really wanted to like this one. I feel like I've said that with a couple of the books we've had this year, is like I was so excited for it and it disappointed me.
How do we feel about like the other characters?
I like that Albert and the, I don't remember her name, the one who wanted to be a governess. How they had a happy ending, even though it wasn't like, we didn't see it, but we were told it. And then the person who was housing them for the season, I kind of had mixed feelings about her, because there were times where it seemed like she was doing the same thing that Theodora's aunt was doing, where she would just dismiss her here and there. But then there were times where they had like a bonding moment. So I have mixed feelings about her. The aunt I don't really like, because I feel like she was just dismissing Theodora, and she wanted to send her home before the wedding to not like mess anything up. And that's just rude.
Didn't like, was it the aunt that wanted her to stay away from Elias from the beginning?
I think so. It might have been the aunt or the lady who was housing them,
Was
or
it Lady Caraway that was housing them, or
maybe it might have been both of them though. Although somebody, it might have been Lady Caraway, was the one who recognized, like, oh, you're changing him.
he seemed like he was mean to her, like not just in the beginning when they first met, but like just in general. Like even when he was nice, it seemed like he was mean. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm over that. I'm over like the idea of like, if a boy's pulling your hair, he likes you. You know, like I just
Yeah, I agree. I hate that. I'm like, teach your boys to be better from a young age.
yeah.
You don't hurt someone to tell them that that's something that they'll eventually grow up with, and it's the excuse that abusive men give. No.
Right. Does it have discussion questions in here? Let's see. I don't think it does. It has like the novella and then a preview, and I'm surprised that the extras don't include discussion questions. What did you say the latchkey was?
It is set after the events of Half a Soul, and it's from Elias's perspective again.
And what's this other novella that's in here? Hold on.
The
Lord Sorcery.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I might have to read some of the reviews. I want to know what people loved about it. I have to go back and watch Books and Lala's review. I'm also wondering if I'm just like, I don't know what my relationship with fantasy is at this point. Neither like just regular fantasy or high fantasy or urban fantasy or like romantasy. I don't know.
I mean, this is a lot of genres mixed into one. It's got the fantasy, it has the romance, and it has the historical fiction. So I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, but that sounds like Outlander genres, and I love that.
But have you read the books for Outlander?
I've read the first 3.
Those are big books too.
They are. That's why I stopped at the 3rd one, because it was like they just kept getting bigger, and that one was like 46 hours for the audiobook, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
that's like Game of Thrones.
And John and I were reading them together, so like we put a pause on it after the 3rd one, because I was like, this is like a full-time job listening to this audiobook. But it was still really good. Like, I definitely want to read the rest of them.
How many books are there? Is it done?
No, it's not. I feel like there's 9 right now, and plus novellas. I don't know how many novellas she has.
Are they still making the TV show, or is that over?
No, I think
I thought I saw
one more season. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought I saw like the advertising for like the final season or whatever it was.
I'm a few seasons behind on that. I think I watched the first 4 seasons. Would you guys like to see this adapted? Do you think if it was adapted, it could be?
Yeah, I would watch an adaptation.
I mean, I'm neither here nor there on it.
besides like the chemistry between the two main characters. What else do you think it could have had to just make it more interesting or intriguing? Or
I do agree with Chloe that it lacked like a world building, and also the book is very short, so it could have used a few more chapters to maybe make that world building better, develop the characters a little bit more, because I definitely did not connect with any of these characters, and I felt like, again, the book was really, really, really short. So.
This is kind of not related to the book, but also kind of related to just book club in general. I'm on a downward trajectory so far this year, because in January I gave book club a 4.5 star. In February I gave it 3.5 stars, and then last month and this month I've given it 2.5 stars.
what was last month?
Retro.
Oh yeah, that was retro.
Not going well.
Did you both give it 2.5 stars?
I think I gave it a 3. That one wasn't bad. It was just not. That one was another one where it was a really cool concept, but it was written terribly. This one wasn't written terribly. It was just okay-ish. That one was written terribly.
That means I have to have high hopes for.
Did you not finish reading the book?
Retro?
Yeah.
No. I did not. And I was like, do I even want to? I don't know. I had it from the library for a while and I didn't return it because I was like, I'm going to finish it. But then I watched you guys talk about it.
You're like, that's enough for me.
I only have so much time. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I would get the next book in the series.
Yeah. I don't think I'll read anything by this author anymore, especially because she said that her focus is historical romance, and I'm just like,
These blurbs are interesting though. Like Hannah Witten said, delightful, half a soul is the definition of a comfort read.
Yeah, I can see that.
Alex E. Haro said, whimsical but never frivolous, sweet but not sugary. I loved it. Megan Bannon, who wrote The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, said, this winsome, whimsical fantasy romance sweeps you off your feet. I didn't feel swept off my feet.
There was no sweeping.
I'm surprised you didn't like it. I thought, Desiree, you were going to be the one that was going to be like, I loved it. I gave this 5 stars. Because it feels like every time I hate something, you really love something. Or every time me and Chloe don't like something, you really love it.
You are a generous reviewer.
I was mad that you guys both gave it a 2.5. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like a 4 or 5 star read. I know it. And
yeah, it's usually what happens.
Well, okay, so what were you thinking when you texted me last night asking?
Oh, I asked you because Kat had already said that she gave it a 2.5. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, let's see what Chloe gave it. Because I thought for sure you were going to like it. Because I was like, romance,
me too.
Bridgerton, like. And then you were like 2.5. And I was like, what? Because like I had already read some of it and like the writing wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, the writing was not bad. It was just I feel like if she wrote a longer story and really developed the world, and I feel like really developed some of those characters, I think it could have been a higher rating for me. I felt like the book was so short that I didn't have enough time to grasp it, and what I read was. It felt like an outline. I was just getting an outline of the story, and I was just bored. So I was hoping that maybe if she had I'm hoping that if she had written a longer book, she could have thrown in some more interesting stuff there. I don't know.
Because usually when like books are short like this, they tend to be more fast paced.
Yeah.
And less, boring per se. It's usually like longer books that people are like, things dragged on. It was so boring. So
it did give like cozy vibes though. So I don't know. So maybe I don't know if that was the thing that she was going for, but I don't know. I guess it didn't work for me.
What did you give Legends and Lattes?
I think I gave on that one a 3 too.
Okay. Yeah, I think I also gave that a 3 because
I think I just don't like the cozy maybe vibe. Let's see. Yeah, I gave that a 3. But that one was like it had fun parts to it. This I feel like did not have fun parts to it. There were some fun elements thrown in there, but there was no fun parts.
Do you think those are comparable, Chloe? I mean, I know you gave Legends and Lattes 5 stars, so
No, because Legends and Lattes is a low stakes. It has fantastical elements where like there's creatures and stuff, but it's just a coffee shop. It's a coffee shop with it's not like an evil that like this book is. It's like somebody doesn't like their coffee shop, but it's not like there's not like stakes to it. Like children are going to sleep and not waking up because they're stuck in fairyland and there's a quote sleeping plague and we have to stab the man with the iron scissors. I don't think it's comparable.
what did you guys think about what was his name? Was it Lord Holloway? I think so, right? He was the fairy guy that like took her soul, half her soul to begin with.
Yeah, I think that was the thing.
What do you think about the fact that he was just like buying kids, buying people, just being like, I wanted an English daughter, so
did it say why he wanted children? Or
I mean,
why he was doing that?
Like he was running a sweatshop in the fairy world.
Because that sounds creepy. Okay. Have you guys seen the TikTok trend that's going around right now about the question? Essentially, it's being thrown at women. Would you rather be in the woods with a bear or a grown man? He's Mr. Holloway, whatever his name is. He's the reason why a lot of the videos I've been seeing, women are choosing the bear. Yeah, women are choosing the bear. He's the reason why. Why does he want children? It's creepy. Even if it's not for those reasons, why does he want children?
But why did her mother sell her?
It's true. It's a good point too.
Like, he was like, I gave her so much fairy gold. What?
Was she poor? Not that's giving an excuse, but I feel like that's the reason why women in our world.
I don't know, man. All right, well, I know we don't connect with a lot of the characters, but if we had to pick a favorite one, or a least favorite one.
I mean, I like Vanessa, the cousin, because she was so happy.
Yeah,
Laura, and she was trying to like hype her up and everything. She was there for her. She also stabbed the guy for her.
Yes. So wait. So in the end,
how did she do that?
Remember, that was in the beginning when he tried to steal her.
Oh, in the beginning. Okay, I thought you were saying like at the end. I was like, how did she wasn't in the fairy world. How'd she do that? All right. In
the end, the souls never reunited, right? So there was just two of the people of the same person, even though it's like two halves of this running around, one in fairyland and one in the normal world.
Yeah, that was my understanding. Well, but at the end, they went back to the fairy world, and it said she had two of the same color eyes. So I assumed that meant she was reunited with her soul at that point. with
I
her
thought
own
that
personal soul.
too, but at the same time, she said that she decided not to unite the souls together because uh she wanted to stay behind.
Yeah, but she did stay behind until they got married, and like the person she married was half fairy anyway and killed his father, and like there must have been some hierarchy thing happening over there. So she had killed Holloway and they went back.
Oh.
It sounded to me. Hold on, let me see what the line was. Okay. But somewhere off in Fairy, it is said that Lady Hollowvale, that was his name, finally fixed her mismatched eyes, and she and her husband rule there to this day from their place in the Hollow House.
That was
And
at the end, right?
yeah, that's literally the last single sentence of the whole thing.
Well, that makes sense.
So I feel like that sounds like she has a whole soul now in Fairy World, Fairyland,
Yeah.
in Fairy. Okay. I think I agree that I also liked Vanessa. She was kind of spunky. Like she was prepared to break rules for Dora.
Mm-hmm.
Most disliked character.
Besides the evil guy,
I feel like I don't even dislike the evil guy as much as I dislike like her aunt.
Um, the what was his name? The guy that's Mr. Darcy.
Oh, Elias.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Lord
I
Sorcerer.
didn't like him.
The guy
I want to say I hated him the most, but I personally just did not like him.
We could probably do final thoughts because I don't have anything else to add. I don't have any more questions to ask. I tried extending the discussion to the best of my ability.
37 minutes. By the time we're done, it'll be over 40. Go ahead, Kat.
I had high hopes for this book just because the way it was marketed as Bridgerton, which I love, and as someone who's not a romance person, and House Moving Castle, whom I also love. Just because of the description of historical romance with fantasy vibes, there were the right elements were there, and it had high ratings, so I was really excited to read this book. But I just kind of thought it was a little bit stale and boring. I didn't really connect with any of the characters. It felt underdeveloped, like the world. I mentioned several times that I wish the world was a little bit more finessed. So I did give this 2.5 stars. Now, this is our opinions on this live show is outliers, because if you go on Goodreads, a lot of people love this book. I feel weird that I did not like this book because everyone else and their mother apparently really
I know, it
loved
makes me
this
feel
book.
like I'm missing something.
Right? It makes me feel weird because everybody and their mother really loved this book. But I did give it 2.5. I just did not connect with this book at all. And I read her other books? Probably if she writes something in a different genre, I would. But if it's another historical romance, I will not. And it seems that she's primarily a historical romance writer. But if she, again, ventures outside her comfort zone, then I definitely will pick it up. Because I do think her writing style is good. I didn't like the development of the book. So yeah, 2.5 stars.
I give it 3 stars. I did like it, but also liked the premise. Didn't connect very well with the character, especially not the main character. Like I don't know. And I'm on the fence as to whether I'm willing to give the second one a shot, because I mean, I read the second Zodiac Academy book, so really like
Girl,
And look how that worked.
if we're comparing, that's like this book was a 5 stars compared to that book. Okay, if we're just comparing the two.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If I could read the second Zodiac Academy book, then I could definitely read the second one of this one, because this is way better.
Gives me nightmares thinking about those books.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious, like, if the story's being told from a different character, how different that would be. But
I gave this one 2.5 stars. I like the beginning and I like the end. I wish there was more world building because the middle is sagging, in my opinion. And like Kat said, we are obviously the minority in these ratings because of how high other people give it. But unfortunately, I just don't think it worked for me. Great concept, poor execution, in my opinion, and I wanted more world building, which is still kind of surprising for me. I will most likely not be continuing on in this series, but I am glad that we gave this one a chance, because it seemed like everything was up my alley, and then it just didn't work. So I don't know. Let's see. Next month we are going to be reading, I had to pull up the author's name here. We're going to be reading You're Invited by Amanda Jayatissa. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And our live show is going to be on a different day this month. We are going to be talking about it on Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. Just because travel plans and scheduling didn't work out, so we had to move it around. So Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. That'll be on our Twitter at Booktube Chicks and our Instagram at Booktube Chicks. So make sure you're following us on both of those to get updates for all of our live shows and whatnot. Some other things that are going to be happening in the month of May is on this coming Friday, May 3rd, we have Pages and Pals over on Kathleen's channel, which is linked in the description below. It's just an hour or so of us reading. And let's see. And then also next weekend on May 5th, over on Desiree's channel, we're going to have the Quarterly Romance Book Club. We're talking about Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. And that'll be live on Desiree's channel, which will be linked in the description below as well. And you can follow us on Twitter at Quarter Romance for updates related to that as well. So that is everything that is coming up in the next couple of weeks. We hope to see you all on...
Oh no, her connection was like dropping. Hope to see you all next time. Like, I don't even know.
We can't stop the live though. Can't say bye, but yes, Chloe, we did lose you.
Oh no. That's funny. I wonder if
have you started reading your quarterly romance book?
Nope. Oh, there you go.
Okay. That was so weird. I was talking and then it just completely cut out. What was the last thing I said?
You were saying bye. You were literally saying bye.
Oh, okay. We'll hope to see you during all the other events happening in May, and hopefully we'll see you for the Booktube Chicks pick for May as well. Bye.